I feel keenly that the joy of a garden is more than doubled if we know the birds. And I also feel that an intimate acquaintance with the friendly birds that add so much charm and gaiety to our gardens will lead to a greater understanding of wildlife in general and the vital necessity of conserving our natural resources. This is quoted from the book Birds in the Garden and How to Attract Them, written by Margaret McKeany and published in 1939, and it has given us many insightful tips. To further quote the book, birds are individuals in the economy of nature, and their behavior is of absorbing interest. We see ourselves reflected or interpreted in their courtship, their homemaking, and their tragedies. In short, their struggle for existence. Perhaps this is why, the longer we have lived in our little cottage where we feather our nest, the more we have become bird lovers and find ourselves inspired and captivated by their daily activities. Birds are often given a bad rap with expressions like bird brain and for the birds, which is used to describe something as useless or meaningless. But for us, this couldn't be further from the truth. Our feathered friends bring so much value not only for their charm of grace and color or song, but for their innumerable help in the garden. So this video really is for the birds and all the wildlife we share our home with. We invite you to join us for the awakening of spring here at Cobweb Cottage. The critters around the cottage have come out of hibernation, and it's wonderful to see their familiar faces again especially Tibby the chipmunk. Over the last several years of living in a 100-year-old cottage, we have learned how to live alongside the wildlife who have called this home long before we have. We have observed so much flora and fauna that live in our backyard and in the graveyard next door, which feels like an extension of our backyard. Every spring in the cemetery, new life can be found in the blossoms of the dogwood trees, daffodils, and most especially the dawn chorus. To further quote the book, either to lie in bed held in the magic net of song, or before the sun rises, to walk in the dusky woods, or on the dew-wet prairies, is to hear an ecstatic, spontaneous expression of the joy of life comparable to no other earthly experience. Few know of the rhapsodic outpouring of the dawn chorus. While we aren't always early birds, we do find great joy in bird watching. Did you know that listening to birdsong can help reduce stress? When birds sing, they feel safe, so it's no small wonder that's why we find ourselves on many sunny days watching and listening. On our birding journey, we have discovered an app called Merlin, which helps you identify bird songs. So if there's a new song we haven't heard before, we sure will recognize it next time, knowing exactly whose beak it's coming from. There is something so nostalgic about different bird songs. Once you know the tune, it isn't easy to forget. Oh, how the evening song of the robin can carry us back to the days of our youth. To quote the book again, the birds are our guests in the garden. We should see that they have not only food and nesting sites, but also something to drink and somewhere to bathe. These are the most essential parts of our hospitality. With the weather finally warming up, it's time for a nice little spring clean in the cottage garden. We always love learning about gardening and recently have been reading up on how native plants are the best for the local wildlife. We try to do our best in our garden with the means that we have, even though we are only renting. And we've made mistakes like clearing out the leaves and debris too early, which can be used as building material for birds and also a shelter for pollinators. To continue the spring cleaning, we must head back to the cemetery. Here there are a few birdhouses that someone put up before us, and it looks like they didn't remember to clean them. So this spring we wanted to make it extra nice for the bluebirds by cleaning out what the old residents left. This makes the birds feel welcome, as they would otherwise be under the impression that someone else lives there. Different birds use different materials while making their nests. Some use sticks, others straw or feathers. In this particular case, we are very happy to notice that a bluebird couple has found interest in one of the houses. Every day it's an exciting journey to notice that a little bit more is added to their nest. We are just careful to pay respect by lightly knocking on the door before we investigate their progress. Soon we hope there will be eggs in the nest and that we'll hear a family choir of bluebirds singing for us early in the summer. According to the book, bluebirds are not hard to please, and if a rustic bungalow has the dimensions according to the best bluebird conventions, it is very likely to be accepted. There may be a few days of gentle consultation between the two, but at last the matter will be settled, and you will have with you a bit of the sky above and the earth below, as Thoreau describes the colors of the eastern bluebird, and all through the spring and summer it will be a joy to watch them. This is the reason we have been wanting to have more of our feathered friends near the cottage. So we recently attended a workshop about building our own birdhouse, where we learned so much about bluebirds and how to care for them. Our little hand-embellished cottage turned out quite charming, if we do say so ourselves. Now we can just keep our fingers crossed that we'll get some new neighbors in the nearby future that we hope to be able to watch through our windows. It's not only the birds that we want to support, but bugs and bees and all kinds of creatures that don't mind living in a home of the smaller size. This little rustic apartment complex for bugs was easy to put together, and the idea came while we were cleaning up in the garden, and we found some old sticks that we could put to further use. Our bug policy for our multi-legged friends is simple. Please do pollinate as much as you want and live your best bug life in our garden. Living next door to an old cemetery is a peaceful experience for us, and we hope for the woodland animals too. We recently installed a trail cam to keep watch and hope to learn what happens when we aren't there, and especially at nighttime. It is the most exciting thing to investigate the footage and try to learn about the behavior of our neighbors. Through our trail cam's eyes, we have seen species that we didn't know we were lucky to have, and it makes it more charming knowing that our old cemetery is so filled with life. With the pitter-pattering sounds of April showers, it's time for us to head inside our little sanctuary and say bye for now. We hope the bluebirds of happiness bring our greeting to you, to wish you sunshine and happiness today and all days.